All right, so moonlighting for extra income. So that's a little bit about me. I encourage you to touch base with me on LinkedIn. That's and also a very important thing to do when you're trying to get extra work. Just search for my name and connect with me, and I'm more than happy to help out however I can on LinkedIn. So moonlighting. Moonlighting is about having a second job, typically secretly at night, in addition to one's regular employment. Today, having online freelancing sites makes it a lot easier. And also this, in essence, this aspect of moonlighting is not a bad thing. Very few people just have one job nowadays, either because economically, that's usually the big one, that they have to have extra work to be able to cover the household. Some people just like to do it because they might be slightly bored with their day job, and they just do something on the side to keep them exciting. Or maybe they can't find work in what they really want to do, or it doesn't pay well, and they just do it to keep their skills at hand. Today, there's something called part of the gig economy. And the gig economy, the word gig, it really came out of, I guess, the terminology when artists or bands would say, oh, we got a gig, and they would have to go to that. And it would be these one-off type of jobs. So sometimes you'll hear the freedom economy as well as the freelancer economy. Now, this economy is worth over $50 billion, and it is growing. 1/3 of Australian workers, those of you who are in Australia, take part in this economy. And according to some research that was done in 2015, 40% of moonlighters said that they had considered leaving traditional employment altogether just because of the money that they were making in this freelance economy aspect. And you can imagine that if you are a freelancer, that you do have a certain amount of freedom. And I have a few people who make all their income using Upwork and what was Elance before, which is now Upwork, that they are making just as much as they were making when they had full-time work. So the first thing as you go into considering how to have this, in a sense, second level of income is look at what is your skill set. And when you start to list all the skills that you actually have, I'm sure that you will find something that somebody will pay you to do. You're already getting paid to do something now in your regular job if you do have one. So the first place to go is look at your job responsibilities. If you do not have a job right now, then I suggest that you look at the previous job descriptions and job responsibilities that you have, because everything that you did in previous jobs can definitely transfer into skills that you can offer people online. Specific tasks associated with the responsibilities. Other tasks you do at your job, even though they're not your primary responsibility. Many times when you go into a workplace, you'll have your key responsibilities, and somewhere down the track, you'll be asked to do various odd jobs along the way because you're just maybe the person that can do it. Industries or markets that you have experience in. So that's the other thing, is that if you have a specialist in, say, the mining industry, well, that's a very niche market that you can, when you're advertising in this gig economy, that you can say you might have 10, 15, 20, or 30 years in that area. And the other thing that you have to keep in mind is, when you go into this gig economy and you have this online world and online contracts, the world is literally your oyster. You are no longer limited to the city that you live in. So traditionally, if you were looking for a job and say like I'm here in Gold Coast, Australia, you would be looking to pretty much have a job in the Gold Coast area, and if you extended it maybe up to Brisbane because of public transport. Today, you can be sitting in your home office in Gold Coast and be consulting with somebody over in in India or in the US without really having to relocate. Look at some of the tasks that you do at home. What are they, what tasks there can be transferred into this gig economy? Activities that you do in your spare time. Some of you might be artists, you might be writers, you might be photographers, it might be a hobby. And you might be able to pick up a few bucks just putting that information out there and helping somebody getting some photos. For example, there might be somebody in the US that is maybe writing something about Australia, maybe the nation's capital or Sydney, and they might want real up-to-date shots. So you could, in a sense, get that gig as a photographer to supply them with real photos, up-to-date photos, not just stock photos that they can buy off the web. Activities you would choose to do in your spare time. Tasks often others ask you to help out with. Some people, when I make this or have this discussion, they go, well, I'm not quite sure what I'm good at. If you don't know what you're good at, ask your partner, your best friends, some of your coworkers, because they'll tell you right off the bat what they know you to be good for. And tasks you're good at and also might take for granted. If you've been doing a task for basically since you started college and it's just something you've been doing for 10, 20, 30 years, it might just seem as something natural. It's almost habit. And I know myself, there's certain things that I'm good at and I just take for granted because, well, it's pretty much what I do. It's more like my vocation, what I've been put on the planet for. And you need to get your friends to pull that stuff out too, because that might be the expertise that somebody in your own town or even across the world may really need. So what to freelance? All right, you can really freelance almost everything online. This I took off of Fiverr, which is a very common online platform for gigs. Writing and translation, graphic design, video and animation, voiceovers. So maybe there might be somebody who is entering into the market and they need to have a particular accent because they have, if it's somebody from the States coming into Australia, they might have a very strong Southern accent, and to where maybe people from other parts of the world can't understand them. Then they could give you the script and then you would do that voiceover that they could put into their online platform, etc. Technical skills, digital marketing, being a virtual assistant, that's a huge area right now, and any type of business planning or marketing planning. So really almost anything. I pulled this off of Fiverr where you can see fun and lifestyle. These are some gigs that people were offering. So there's an example. I'll record a professional Australian female voiceover starting at $31 for the gig. And it was pretty amazing going on Fiverr. There were a lot of people that were offering to do prank phone calls, which I'm not quite sure that I would probably put my services up or promote that. But as I said, online, it seems that anything goes. So really the only things that's stopping you is your own creativity and your own skill set. There's a plethora of freelancing websites out there. These are some of the more popular ones, Clickworker, Fiverr, Moonlighting. So, and some of these have have various specialties. So Fiverr is pretty much, the thing around Fiverr is that the base gig will be $5 US, and then it can be layered on top of that. Guru is one that I actually use, and we'll go through a little session on just showing you how it works. Guru has anyone and everything. I'm currently working with a virtual assistant through Guru. I got my transcriber through Guru. Guru has usually been my platform of choice. I've also recently joined Freelancer, and now I'm hiring freelancers. Freelancer I've brought on, I've been looking at social media marketing people on Freelancer. Upwork, one of my very dear friends, he has been using Upwork probably for 5 or 6 years. It used to be Elance, and then Elance and Odesk kind of came together and became Upwork. TopTel is mainly for your coders, financial, so it's very specialist. So some of these platforms are very niche as well. 99 Designs is all for designing. I know a number of people have used them to get designs on t-shirts, logos, any kind of marketing collateral. Amazon Mechanical Turk is I think, fairly new to the market, and I think that deals more with tech. I have not looked into that one in detail. People per hour, I freelance, simply hired, freelance writing jobs. So once again, that's a very niche website for any kind of writing jobs. Craigslist is another good place to look for various jobs. And also, I didn't put up there, but also Gumtree, I think, puts jobs out there that would be part-time. LinkedIn Profiler is another one. I have not used that one, but once again, LinkedIn is becoming a very good recruitment tool for people, not only full-time work, but also gig work. And so that's why it's very, very important to ensure that you have an up-to-date, and I like to say fully loaded, LinkedIn profile, because we'll see later on in some research that people do look to your profile to see how far it's there and what's involved with that, what you do. Airtasker, I have a student who does a fair bit of job work on Airtasker, mainly in digital marketing. And here in Australia, Airtasker, at least here in Gold Coast, have been doing a lot of TV advertising on all the things that Airtasker can do. You have Ozlance, which is another freelance marketplace, and Local Solo. So these are just a few. And, what you have to do is really just go and experiment, go on there, put your information up, your skills, and just see what's out there. I have also used Guru as a freelancer, so I've put my stuff up there, and I got a few business marketing kind of gigs as well. So these are three that I've used. So what I was going to do briefly is go into Guru to just show you what it's about. And I'm going to go in as an employee. Okay, so here is, you can see here that there's my profile. So obviously when you go in, you put in your details and you put in what services that you can do, etc. So I'm just going to go into my profile. All right, there's my public identity. I can go in, I can put my picture there, I can change my cover, put in my screen name. If you do have a website, put that in. Once again, especially if you're in graphic design and everything, you might want to send them to your portfolio as well. And then you can give them an overview. So I started this, as I said, I go in mainly looking for a, you need me to share this screen, is that correct? Yep, hold on, let me get that. I always forget to do that. There we go. Now can you see it? Okay, great. So just going back here, I'm into my profile page. So you go in, set up a profile like you would do on any website. I go down here and then I put my tagline. So my tagline I made, the business developer. I can go in and talk about my bio and then my work terms. So my work terms, it might be hours of operation, Monday to Friday. Maybe you might only work from 5 to 9 p.m. So you would put that there, because then when people are looking for you regarding a gig, they know when they can expect to hear from you. I might attach files or video. So in this case, I might put in my resume. Maybe I have some videos that I've edited. Maybe I want to show a brochure I've done. So this becomes your portfolio to get more work. You can also take skills tests. So these skill tests comes up and shows what then you become proficient in. And it'll cost a little bit, but once again, this will help those people who are looking for people to do the gig. It gives them a bit more confidence if you know what you're doing. So you can go in and choose various skills tests. So you can see that there's various tests in different types of industries. So with my with the skills with finding jobs, I would go in and put up my services that I have. So in services, I can add whatever services you have. So in this case, I said, look, I can do technical writing, I can do grants and proposals, articles and press releases, reports, some web content. So I list my services there, and I can put in how much I'm going to charge per hour. Now, the prices that you charge can vary. So for example, the job that I put out for writing for social media marketing ranged anywhere from $4 an hour, and most of these people were from developing countries, developing nations, to $20 to $25 an hour, even up to $30 an hour based in the US and also here in Australia. So you will be competing against a wide range of people. It's just going to come back to what the person is looking for. And then how Guru pays is that you come to an agreement with the person who's hiring you of what the terms are. When you do the job and it's finished, then the money goes into escrow, and then the person who you've done the job for releases the funds. So it's pretty good. And this is, as I said, this is just one that I personally have used. I haven't used it for a long time as somebody who's looking for employment, because I'm in a process now of looking for people to be part of my team. And that's pretty much it with regards to this kind of screen. You're the person that's interested in your operate the same way as well. The most important thing is that you need to know what skills you have and put in as much stuff into your portfolio, like I showed you adding the files, that really strengthens your position in getting that gig, similar to going for a job. Okay, let me go back to the slides. So hopefully that gave you a little bit of understanding of at least one of the platforms. And I encourage you to go in and experiment with as many platforms as possible, and then find one that you really, really like. That's what my friend did using Upwork. He really liked that one, and he pretty much sticks to that, and that's the one that he's gotten the jobs off for a few years. So I think this is, a very important graph, looking at your likelihood of landing a gig. Look, it's very competitive out there, I will be honest with you, when you go onto these platforms. And when you look at this, landing a gig on these platforms, 30% referral clients. And that's where even LinkedIn becomes important, because people can write recommendations about you. Even on any of these gig sites, these freelancing sites, there's a place for people to give feedback about about their work. The client did background research about you, so you can see that becomes important as well. It's very easy to look at who these people are. So even myself, if I find out who the person is, if they share with me their first name and surname, I'll go right to LinkedIn to see if they have a profile there. And the one woman that I'm speaking to, she's from Mauritius. She does have a profile on LinkedIn, and I could go through and see who she's actually worked for. It gives me one more level of confidence of her credibility. And rating on freelancing platforms, 11.5%. It's lower than the referral clients, but it's still very important. So, and once again, even with regards to any kind of word of mouth advertising, we the stats show that we will purchase something that friends or people say that this person, or even like a restaurant, if we talk about products and services, that they'll use that more so than kind of basically flipping a coin and going to some place where they've never done business with before. So taking this on board, looking at who can refer you for certain things, making sure that you have, if your name's out there, making sure that the stuff that people are saying is good about you, have an up-to-date LinkedIn profile, and then when you start getting into this whole gig economy, really encourage those people that you've done work for to give you not only a rating, but also to give you a testimonial as well. Now, I just wanted to briefly touch base is that maybe some of you go, look, I'm already in my full-time job. I work 8 to 10 hours a day. The last thing I want to do is spend another 2 to 3 hours on an extra project. Totally understand that. I'm not going to go into detail on this slide, but I just want you to think about it. I'll be doing another webinar later on down the track about these. There's other ways to make money online. Some of them are a bit more detailed, some of them are quite easy. Affiliate marketing, usually this requires you to have an existing website. And what affiliate marketing is you're selling other people's products and services through your website, but you're not holding any stock. And you know, some people I know have made an extra maybe $100 a month up to $1,000 to $2,000 a month. So it just depends who you are affiliating with. Become a reviewer. There's heaps of review sites out there that people will pay you to review a website, to review music, to review articles online. And I was just amazed when I was researching for this webinar how much opportunity there was out there for that. Once again, various payments as well. You may not make $1 million from it, but if you're looking to make, you know, an extra couple $100 a month under very little time, it might be worthwhile for you. Kindle publishing for all you writers out there, developing information products and selling them. So for example, I have a couple other sites. I write training and materials for other organizations, and once I write them, it's done. I put it online, and it becomes, in a sense, a semi-passive form of income for me, which has been really useful. Completing online surveys. Once again, heaps of websites out there for you to fill in surveys, and some people just, that's all they do. E-commerce, eBay. So a friend of mine, she does pretty well of selling products on eBay. So she'll go to auctions, sometimes flea markets, and she'll pick up stuff that is unique, and it goes back to one person's trash is another person's treasure. And once she gets back from holidays, I'm hoping that she'll give us a session on how to have a good eBay business. And Amazon. Amazon obviously is already in the US. It's soon to enter here in Australia. And I'm actually going to a seminar next week on how to sell products through Amazon. So once I find out that information, I can share that with you as well. So there's many ways to make some extra income online. The world's your oyster once again. So once again, I thank you very much for your time, and I'll shut off the webinar and I will take questions from anybody offline. Thanks very much and have a great day.